Did you know that about 50% of men over the age of 50 have an enlarged prostate? That's a significant statistic, and it highlights just how important men's health is, particularly when it comes to the prostate. An enlarged prostate, also known as benign prostatic hyperplasia or BPH, can lead to a whole bunch of uncomfortable symptoms like needing to pee more often, especially at night. You might feel like you haven't fully emptied your bladder or the stream might be weak. These symptoms can be frustrating and disruptive to your daily life. Believe it or not, the foods you love might be making your prostate issues worse. We're going to break down the top 4 foods you should avoid if you have an enlarged prostate. But before we start, I want to ask you a favor. Click on this subscribe button. It's free, and it will help us grow on YouTube to help more and more people with our content. Thank you very much. Here on Health is Natural channel, we believe that health and well-being is our natural state, and through natural means we can regain this state. Millions of men around the world experience the symptoms of an enlarged prostate. And the good news is that there are things you can do to manage these symptoms and improve your quality of life. And one of the most effective ways to do this is by making simple changes to your diet. You see, certain foods can actually irritate the bladder and worsen the symptoms of an enlarged prostate. On the other hand, there are also foods that can help to soothe the bladder and promote prostate health. So, in this video, we're going to focus on the foods you should avoid. By identifying these dietary culprits and making conscious choices about what you eat, you can take a proactive approach to managing your prostate health and improving your overall well-being. Remember, knowledge is power, and by understanding how your diet impacts your prostate, you can make informed decisions that empower you to live a healthier, more comfortable life. Now let's dive into the first food you should avoid if you have an enlarged prostate. Alright guys, let's talk about spice. I know, some of you can't resist a little kick in your food. Me too, I love spices. But when it comes to an enlarged prostate, spicy foods can be your worst enemy. Think about the last time you ate something really spicy. Remember that burning sensation? That's capsaicin at work, the active compound in chili peppers that gives them their heat. Now, while capsaicin has some health benefits, it can also irritate the bladder, and for those of you with an enlarged prostate, that irritation can translate to increased urinary urgency and frequency. It's like adding fuel to the fire, and nobody wants that, right? So, what are some of the spicy culprits you need to watch out for? Well, obviously chili peppers are a big one, but it's not just about avoiding jalapenos and habaneros. Many different cuisines use spices that can trigger your symptoms. Think curries, hot sauces, even some salsas. Now, I'm not saying you have to give up spicy food altogether, but if you're experiencing symptoms of an enlarged prostate, it's a good idea to cut back on the spice and see if it makes a difference. You can always start by reducing the amount of spice you use in your cooking or opting for milder versions of your favorite dishes. And hey, if you're really craving that spicy kick, try incorporating other flavor enhancers like herbs, citrus, or even a little bit of ginger. Ginger in particular can be a great alternative as it has anti-inflammatory properties that might actually help with prostate health. Remember, it's all about finding a balance that works for you. Your taste buds might miss the heat initially, but trust me, your bladder will thank you for it. The caffeine conundrum: why your afternoon coffee might be your prostate's worst nightmare. Let's face it, many of us rely on that afternoon cup of coffee to power through the rest of our day. But here's the thing, caffeine, that magical elixir that keeps us going, can also wreak havoc on an already sensitive bladder. Caffeine is a diuretic, which means it increases urine production. Now, for most people, this isn't a big deal, but if you have an enlarged prostate, that increased urine production can put extra pressure on your bladder, leading to more frequent trips to the bathroom and that dreaded feeling of urgency. And it's not just coffee we're talking about here. You must be aware of hidden sources of caffeine. Some tea, especially black tea, also contains caffeine, as do many sodas and energy drinks. Even chocolate has a small amount of caffeine, so if you're a chocoholic, you might want to indulge in moderation. Now, I know what you're thinking, Dr. Mike, are you telling me I have to give up my afternoon coffee? Well, not necessarily. As with spicy foods, it's all about moderation and listening to your body. You might find that you can tolerate a cup of coffee in the morning without any issues. But if you're downing multiple cups throughout the afternoon, or relying on energy drinks to power through your evening slump, that's when you might run into trouble. If you're struggling with urinary symptoms, try cutting back on caffeine gradually and see if it makes a difference. You can start by swapping one of your afternoon coffees for a decaf alternative or exploring herbal teas. which are naturally caffeine-free and can even have soothing effects on the bladder. Remember, it's all about finding what works best for you. And who knows, you might even discover a new favorite beverage in the process. The sneaky culprit: hidden sources of sugar. We've talked about the obvious sugar culprits: sodas, candies, processed foods. But sugar can be sneaky, hiding in places you might not expect. And when it comes to managing an enlarged prostate, it's crucial to be aware of these hidden sources. One of the biggest offenders is soda. Now, I know many of you are already trying to cut back on sugary drinks, which is fantastic. But even fruit juices often contain added sugars to enhance the flavor. So next time you're reaching for a refreshing beverage, double-check the label to make sure it's truly sugar-free. Another surprising source of sugar is snacks. Now, before you panic, I'm not saying you have to give up snacks entirely. Nuts and seeds, in particular, offer a range of health benefits, but it's important to be mindful of your intake, especially if you're sensitive to sugar. Opt for a smaller portion of high-fiber snacks, as these typically contain less sugar than processed snacks. And remember, moderation is key. Now let's talk about a hidden source of sugar that often catches people off guard: flavored yogurts. That's right, some flavored yogurts, especially those marketed as low-fat, contain added sugars. The sugar is added to enhance the taste of the yogurt. However, if you're already struggling with an enlarged prostate, that extra sugar could exacerbate your symptoms. So, next time you're reaching for a snack, take a moment to read the label and see if sugar is listed as an ingredient. If so, you might want to ask your doctor or nutritionist for a healthier alternative. The alcohol alarm: why those happy hour drinks might be making your prostate unhappy. Let's talk about alcohol, that social lubricant that often accompanies good times and relaxation. But when it comes to prostate health, alcohol can be more foe than friend. You see, alcohol is a diuretic, just like caffeine. This means it increases urine production, putting extra pressure on your bladder. And for those of you with an enlarged prostate, that increased pressure can lead to more frequent urges to urinate, especially at night. Imagine this: you're out with friends, enjoying a few drinks, and suddenly you feel that familiar urge to go. You excuse yourself from the conversation, rush to the bathroom, and then find yourself repeating this cycle throughout the night. Not exactly conducive to a relaxing and enjoyable evening, right? But it's not just the diuretic effect of alcohol that's problematic for prostate health. Alcohol can also irritate the bladder, making those urges to urinate even stronger and more frequent. And if you're already experiencing inflammation or discomfort due to an enlarged prostate, alcohol can exacerbate those symptoms, leaving you feeling even worse. So, what's the solution? Well, as with most things in life, moderation is key. If you choose to drink alcohol, do so in moderation and be mindful of how your body responds. You might find that certain types of alcohol, like beer, which also tends to be high in carbohydrates, trigger your symptoms more than others. And remember, staying hydrated is crucial, especially if you're consuming alcohol. Water can help to flush out toxins and reduce the irritating effects of alcohol on your bladder. Take control of your prostate health. So there you have it, guys. We've covered the top 4 foods to avoid if you have an enlarged prostate: spicy foods, caffeine, hidden sources of caffeine, and alcohol. Remember, making simple changes to your diet can make a world of difference in managing your symptoms and improving your quality of life. Now, I want to hear from you. Have you noticed a connection between your diet and your prostate health? Share your experiences in the comments below. And if you found this video helpful, be sure to give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel for more informative content on men's health. Don't forget to check out our prostate health playlist to get more prostate health tips. Until next time, stay healthy and keep those prostates happy.